Hello and welcome to the next instalment of building a website from scratch. Last episode we built out some of the homepage stuff here, and I'm going to continue on with that, and so we've got our navigation and all that sort of stuff all working now. I'm going to concentrate more on this sort of homepage area here, and what we're aiming to do is make it look something a bit like this. At the moment this kind of looks nothing like it, but what I'll do is I'll put in some dummy HTML and we'll style it out. So let's get into it. What I've done here is to paste in a bunch of HTML just so that we're not having to watch me painfully type this stuff out. Let's have a look and see what we've got. I've taken the liberty of pasting a whole lot of text into our home.html file, which is located inside Pages and which is part of the Acme theme. I've done it in sections. So starting with the hero section, we've got our we build your dreams. Then we move into the part with the project categories, where we've got some cards displaying some images, and they will eventually link back to the categories. We've got some more, I've got 3 of those for houses, offices and retail. Moving down to our call to action section, we've got a form here which is going to be a contact us form. Moving down, we then have our projects, which are sort of set out here. We have our projects with a picture of the project, title for the project, a brief description, and there'll be a link through to that project. Moving down to the news, we end up with the latest news, and we've got the latest article displaying here, and then a list of other news articles. So that's basically it, and that gives us this, which is our website as it sort of stands at the moment. You can see we build our dream, or your dream rather. We've got the houses, the offices, the retail. We've got projects and some news. So that's kind of what it does. The other thing that I've done here is over in our terminal. If we look over here in the resources, there's some green things here. I've just added some pre-prepared files in there. So there's the front hero image, and what's happened is Gulp has taken care of those, compressed them down a bit, and put them into the images folder, and inside our assets. Right, let's start with our hero. Alright, let's have a look and see what we've got. Here we go. Okay, and let's just put some finishing touches into that. We need to put some space around that, and what's that going to do? There we go. Build a dream, and let's do a little bit more with that image. I'll just go back to VS Code, and I'm just going to paste in some things here. So what I've done is background is no repeat. I've positioned it in the center and made the size of cover. That should give us this. Yep, that's starting to look a little bit better. And what do we need to work on next? We need to work on our heading in there, don't we? So that we've got some H2. Inside the hero, and it's going to have a colour of white. So colour white. Yep, that's looking alright so far. Let's give it a background. So, back into code, background. What I've done here is gone black, so RGB, so no red, no green, no blue, and give it an opacity of about 50%, so 0.5. Now that's reaching right across, and could probably do with some padding. Time to fix that up, and we'll go back into code, and here's our next little trick. So give it a max width of around about sort of 40 characters, and give it a spot of padding as well. Let's have a look and see what we get there. Yep, now we're starting to get somewhere. Yeah, so we've got our padding around there. One little effect I'm going to add in here is a backdrop filter, so that's a blur thing. And I'll just whack that in there and save that. And there will be no change in Firefox. The reason the background blur doesn't work is it's not supported in Firefox, as we can see from Can I Use. But Chrome-based browsers like Edge and Chrome have support for it. Also, so does Safari, and yeah, so it does has around about 88% support globally. But so it's worthwhile sort of having a decent fallback. How it looks, if we go to this is the same thing on Chrome, and you'll notice there's a blurriness, things behind the scenes here. If I go back to, I'm just going to quickly jump into VS Code, and I'm just going to comment out the background color and refresh what we've got. So this kind of gives you a picture of how the how it actually works without any color. And of course, in Firefox, you're not going to see anything at all. Back into code. Let's bring this back again. Oh, that one. And here we go. Nothing's changed here. Now, you're probably all screaming about another issue we've got here. If we look at our preview, of course, what you'll notice, the image goes right across the whole screen. But this text here, "We Build Your Dream," lines up underneath. So that presents us with a little problem. Looking at what we've got here on the web page itself, we need to expand all this stuff out. Now, the reason that's like that is because of our layout. Jumping back into VS Code, I've moved into the layouts and the default file here, and you'll immediately see why this is happening. It's because of this div class container in here. What that's doing is just sort of pulling everything in, sort of giving it like a maximum width. So we need to get rid of that to fix up the front page. Trouble is, if we do that with the front page, it then messes up our layout for the rest of the site. So how do we deal with this? Well, there are really two solutions here. One is we can set a conditional in here to remove these classes if it happens to be the front page. And another way of doing it is to just create another template that has some layouts in it. Both approaches, of course, have their merits. One of the things I'm going to go down the path of having a different layout, mainly because in the future we may set up some landing pages which are probably going to be based more on the front page format than the sort of standard sort of content pages on the website. But what I'll do is I'm just going to grab all that, and in our default I'm going to create a new layout, and I'm just going to call that full width. If I can spell properly. And place that in there and call this the full width layout. And leave all that other stuff there and remove these. Not there. So these ones sitting in the main. Let's tidy that up a bit. Ordinarily, what I do with these, I've got a default layout here and I've also got a full width layout. Now there's a lot of code in common with these, and it's good practice to actually pull these out and stick them into a partials. That way you're only dealing with one particular bit of code, so I might just do that. Be back in a minute. And just like that, what I've done is I've added a partial here for site head and another partial down here for site scripts. Done the same thing in the full width template, and in our partials folder we now have a head and we have a scripts file. The head looks like that and scripts look like that. So now when I get rid of things or change things around, it's going to go over both templates instead of editing one and forgetting to do the other and wondering what's gone wrong. And looking at our website, if we do a refresh, nothing's broken. That's always good. Okay, let's have a look at our back end. I've logged into our back end and I'm in our CMS, and let's go to our home page, and we've got layouts here, we've got default, and we've also got full width. So what I'm going to do is change that to full width, save and update that, and let's go back to our, there we go, we've got this working so far. Now we just need to just tidy that up a little bit, and there are probably going to be some others that aren't quite right. Yeah, so I've just got to add some containers into the home page. Back in code. And let's just format that. Yep. And let's have a look. That should bring our lovely. Okay, let's fix up the others. So we've already got a container in the categories, so we'll fold that away. Call to action needs a container. Format that. Fold that away. Projects. Here we need it in there too. Let's grab that closing div, and that goes down there, and format that. We'll fold that away, and we need to do the same with news too, don't we? Might help if I spell. So it goes inside the section. Right, document. Let's just fold that out of the way too. We'll save that. Head back to our browser and make sure we haven't broken anything. Yep, that's looking alright. Next section to deal with is our project categories. Just fold that down. We have project categories sitting within a container, and we've got a grid small thing here which is going to help lay our cards out. Looking at our categories, got a container, grid small, class I've added in there previously, and these 3 cards. Now time to sort of do something about that. Right, what we'll do is we'll go to our resources, and in our components I'm going to create a new component, and I'll call that grid underscore, so it's a partial grid. And there we go. And small, and we'll just make that blank. I don't know where that came from. Fat fingers. And what do we need to do next? We need to include that into our styles, because I don't think our styles are aware of it. So go to our components, and we'll add that to the import. Now back to our grid. What do we want to do here? We're going to use CSS grid. So the display will be grid, and it will work even better if it's spelled properly. We'll put a gap between the cards of 2 rem. Now this is kind of where the magical stuff happens. Grid templates. Grid template rows. And what are we going to do with this? I want them to repeat out, so we'll do a repeat. And we want them to auto fit, and what we want to auto fit is min max of what's it going to be? Oh yes, mobile size with margins would be, make that 300 pixels. There's this pixels, and expand out to 1 fraction. Let's have a look and see what's happened, if anything. Nothing. Okay. Oh, that was a bit weird. Hit refresh and it worked, which is what I expected it to do. So, Alright, looking at what we've got and where we're heading, we're not too far off. Let's press on, shall we? Time to add some styles to our category section. Okay, so we go back to our home page. Might give it the same padding as the hero. Trying to keep things consistent and see where we end up there. Yep. And the other thing we need to do is center these, make the text bigger, and put that blue color in there. So put the card inside categories, and we're going to the background color of Alice Blue. That gives us this background color here, which is not quite, we're getting there, but you know, we still need to do some stuff with these images. Need to make this, center this text and make it bigger. Before we go any further, we need to create a new component called card. So let's do that. Card. Right. Now, one of the things we have with our cards, we have an image inside there. Image. And what do we do with the image? We make the width 100% of the card, and we'll make the height auto. We also have content in there. And we'll just give the content just some padding of 1 rem. And we need to include that in our components here. I'll copy that, and let's see what that's done. Found the problem, couple of stupid typos. Of course, I'd spelt card as in cards, and the other one was in the card thing itself. I was applying the width to the div tag rather than the actual image itself. So if I do the image inside the div tag, lo and behold, it works. Look at that. Now, moving into dealing with these other things, we've got issues with specificity. Generally, not a good idea to get involved. Move your style sheets too many layers in, because otherwise it gets really hard to debug later on. Better approach would probably be to use something like a BEM class. That's block element modifier to actually target that class, but I'm going to break the rules and do it this way. So it's card content, and that's going to be text align center. And I'm also going to go a bit further here and target the A element inside there because it was black. So I'll give that a colour of Now the other thing I need to deal with is the text size, because the fonts are slightly bigger in this, but I want to use modular scale to do that, but I haven't actually incorporated that into the project yet, so I'll save that for another video I think, and we'll move on to the next thing. And of course the next session we get to is the call to action part. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time styling this, mainly because we're going to be adding plugins later on in the series, and one of the plugins I've got does a contact form. So I might just leave that. I'll give it the background color and leave it at that, I think. So onto our home, and next part down is CTA, and it's going to have a background color of Alice Blue. I don't need that. Save that. And give it some space as well. Same padding as before. Yep. Now let's have a look at our project. I had to think about this one, and I've got this class here called projects. Now that's going to be also, it's going to form a clash when we do our projects page, and I want to have a different layout for each of them, so I need to give this a different name. I'm going to call it showcase. Done. Let's think some more about this. We've got projects, we've got some images, an image, we've got a title, and we've got a paragraph here. This is kind of repeating, except the swap over alternately. It's not going to work on a phone, but, so what we'll probably have is the image, title, and description sort of underneath. Let's have a look and see what we've got in the way of our HTML. This is probably not going to match exactly what we're going to do, so let's make a couple of little changes. I'll call that showcases, and I'll change this to showcase, and I'm going to need a showcase showcase image, and I'll grab that and put that in there, because then we can target those particular blocks, and we'll do the same showcase content. Whack this in here. Tidy that up. We've got 3 of those. I'll get rid of these. And alright. And of course hitting refresh. No change whatsoever, which is good. But now we've got these a bit more easily targeted. Let's have a look at what we've got browser wise. Yep, so far so good. There's a bit of overflow going on here. Yep, more overflow. Something's happening here. What's causing that? Something that's expanded outside. I'll have to fix that up. But that doesn't seem to be our issue. Here we go. Our project images. Yep. We need to start a SASS component called showcases. Put the underscore in front. And let's just give it a border 1 pixel solid red. Just so we know everything's working. It's not going to work at the moment because we haven't pulled it into our styles, components. And yep, underline shows that's good. Alrighty. And we see our lines here. Yep. Definitely the overflow is caused by these images. Let's make our images responsive. With 100% and height auto. Yeah, that sorts that overflow issue out there. We've still got that text area is gonna cause an overflow as well, so might have to deal with that. Right, solution to the call text area and the call to action. We've just gone text area, just given it a max width of 100%. That should, all going well, sort things out for us. That's a little better. There's still a bit of overflow from somewhere, but we'll look at that because these seem to be not quite right. Maybe let's look at the width of that. Let's show you what I've done. I've gone back to the grid small, and instead of being 300, I've dropped that to 280. Now the reason I've done that is there's 20 pixels either side for the width, and if we look at the size of our device here, 320, so take 40 off that and you get 280. 20 left, 20 right from 300, yeah, from 320, and you get 280. Right, I'll show you what I've done here. Just in the parent part here in the showcases, I've just added some padding of 5 rem above and below, and to the left and right 0. I'm going to get rid of this red line thing here, and we'll give it a padding bottom of let's say 2 rem. See how that works. Sounds like the boss is calling. Excellent. Let's work on this showcase thing. Now what I've done here, I'll just move into code, and what we've got here is I've just added a media query here for screen, and when the screen width is a minimum width of 600, so 600 pixels or greater, and it affects the showcase thing selector, and makes that a display flex, gives it a flex direction of row, and I've put in a gap of 2 rem. Now what that should give us, if we go back to our browser, we'll hit refresh, we're still on mobile view, yeah, here we go. Now we're going to make these alternate. The next thing to do is let's alternate these around. Now, how do we do that? We've already got our display flex, and we've got our flex direction. So every nth child, wonderful little selector, this one, choose the odd one and just do a flex direction of row reverse, and that gives us this. Here we go. And of course we need to bring all that stuff together because we've got things lining up down the center, and we can do that with a justify content of center. There we go. I think that's actually working. Beautiful. Now that's done, let's move on to our news. Okay, let's have a look and see what we should be doing here. We've got, actually I need to center that project heading there. That's relatively simple. Okay, so this is the airy black, and this is half and half. Might experiment with that. It probably might work better 2/3, 1/3 or something like that. Anyway, let's get into code and have a look at it. Right, let's start here. We'll create a component and we'll call it front use. Okay, background color is going to be that Erie black, and color is going to be pull front views into the components part to the main style sheet. Change that to front views. And let's have a look and see if it works. There we go. Let's grab the same kind of stuff, and where were we? We were home. Let's just grab our padding and stuff. Let's try to keep things consistent if we can. And let's have a look. Yep. That's not the Erie black, it's the other colour. Which is abstracts and colours. It's smoky black. Actually, I think I've got the footer and these around the wrong way. Let's just fix. Okay, so I just swapped the colours around here. Different news. Let's have a look and see how it looks mobile wise. Not so sure about that colour, but we'll deal with that. Definitely, yeah. Definitely going to have to deal with that colour. Just made some changes to the text colour, just made it the white colour, and also put in a line centre for the heading 2. Also did that for the previous showcases one as well. You'll see here. So what do we get when we do that? We get this. Yep, so projects are centered and news is centered. We've got a news item, an excerpt of it, and then we've got the other items. In large mode. Now let's play around with this. Okay, I'll just set up, paste in a media query here, so same deal as the others. Media screen kicks in a minimum width of 600 pixels. And what are we going to do with this? We've got here centered heading. We've got a news article in the left hand side and then a list of links on the right hand side, and probably want to play around with these here. Now a couple of ways of doing this. Could wrap these here in a div and then use flexbox, Or we can probably try a grid layout for do the whole lot. It'll give us much cleaner HTML if we do it that way. So how about we do the grid? Okay, we've got the layout's going to be basically a 4x4 grid. So grid template rows, we'll just make that auto, and grid template columns, we'll just do one we'll play with those values later on. Let's have a look and see what we get. We get this, which is a little messed up, but it's doing exactly what we've actually told it to do. We haven't defined anything much at the moment, so let's just start playing around with definitions, because we need to make this heading here stretch right out across the two columns, and these are a column each. What I've done here is assigned some grid template areas. And we've got heading for at the top, and we've got main and sidebar. What this should do is combine headings together to fill up the two columns. And the first column will be the main, and then we've got the sidebar in the next row down. But that's not going to work yet, because we haven't actually assigned these grid templates to their right areas. Let's fix that up. Now we're doing the heading 2, which is inside the front news, and it's going to be in the grid area. Called heading. Let's have a look and see what that's done. It might help if I show you what it's done. There we go. Look at that. And we've got these bits here. Now that we've got these assigned, heading, main, sidebar, we can probably just play with these, and if I make that 4 FR and 1 FR, see what that does. Yep, that's not too bad. You can sort of play around with that. We'll probably have smaller text in there. Or we can maybe mess with this a little bit further. Let's go back to our... We can do 1 FR and 15 rem units. This is the thing with grid, you can mix and match. Let's see what that does. Doesn't look a huge amount of difference, but you can see there's a fixed area there, and this will float according to the space. Yeah. Alright. And mobile should be just normal, because the grid and things doesn't apply then. Yep. And with that, we're done with this part of it. Next time we'll make this a bit more dynamic and bring in the blog pages plugin, where we can sort of pull in latest news into our front page and also build out our main page as well. So thank you for watching. Hope you've got something out of this, and we'll continue on, and we'll see you in the next one.